Welcome to Fear Babes Podcast, a paranormal podcast founded and hosted by Fear fan members.
All thoughts and opinions are strictly our own, and we are not affiliated with any shows in any way.
My name is Burgundy.
My name is Madeline.
And we are
the Fear Babes. Hi.
I was like, is it going?
Welcome to Fear Babes. I am your host, Madeline Monroe.
Bro, I can't take you seriously.
And then I have another host.
I am your other host, Burgundy Brown. Why are you being all technical now that we're on camera?
Well, see, here's the thing is that we are on camera, so now we have to watch every little thing that we're doing. Like, I can't pick my nose, I can't scratch my boob, I can't do all the normal shit that I do when we're recording.
Oh God. The laughing's gonna be a problem because now we're visible. So
yeah, see, that's gonna make it better because I get to stare at your face.
Guys, I have a fidgeting problem, so I'm probably gonna be moving a lot. So because you're all saying that, I'm over here like doo doo doo.
Literally, that's exactly I can do that too. I'll have to not look at my phone because sometimes I'm reading my phone.
I know.
But yeah, so we're doing something different this week.
Hi.
Which
it's
is
our faces.
Yeah, it's our faces. We're putting the babe in Fear Babe. We wanted to remind you of why we call ourselves Fear Babes. Just kidding.
That was
not really.
Wink in the history of winks ever. So.
Did you do one?
Yeah.
You did a wink? Oh, do it again.
You have to do it super obnoxiously,
Now my lash is glued to the top of
my fucking bangs are doing that thing. So right before we started recording, I told Mads, I was like, my bangs keep sitting on my eyelash and it's like a derpy eyes.
Yeah, she's like.
Well, it's hey, I'm going that way. I don't know where you're going, but I'm going this direction.
This way, that way, always.
This one's going that way. God, whatever. So yeah, camera's weird. I don't know how I feel about this.
It's weird, but I just want to stare at myself because I'm what's wrong with me? Is there lipstick on my teeth? What's going on? But
I know I keep trying to look at you and not me. But
good.
Also, my bangs are just not cooperating.
I know now I have a piece of hair on my face, of course, but whatever.
Hey. Hey, did you know what day it is?
It is the day that
Ain't wrong.
is getting. I didn't even say it.
Okay, say it.
Fuck? It is the day that's getting closer to the day.
No, ain't wrong. I'm gonna be real disappointed if you don't know what day it is.
What day is it?
Nationally, what day is today?
National Paranormal Investigator Day.
It's just Paranormal Day, but sure.
Paranormal Day.
Yeah, because one of my coworkers, she's actually sent me a little thing this morning. I was like, oh, thank you so much.
The little hand. Thank you so much.
So much. Yeah. Just
oh my gosh.
National Paranormal Day.
That was so Barbie. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. We're never going to have to be on camera again. This is ridiculous.
I kind of like it so far.
I gotta stop moving, man. I don't know how to sit still, though. That's the problem.
Fine. It's okay. You don't have to sit still. Hey, nobody said that we're going to be perfect. That's our whole thing. We're not perfect.
I try not to be perfect. I try very hard not to be perfect.
It actually
your nostrils right when you.
It involves effort to be not perfect, as you can tell.
Yeah. Did you see that?
No. Was I supposed to see something?
There was something in my camera. I don't know what it was, but
we ain't doing that. Take it back.
I can't.
Take it back. She said that earlier too. Gosh, what is his hair? She
Something
said that
moved.
earlier too.
Something moved. I think it just was falling from its position and where it currently sits. I don't think it was a thing because I don't feel nothing, but I'm just saying.
Lord, we can't have this during this podcast. Please protect us in your name, I pray. Amen.
I don't like being on camera.
I know. So, like, okay.
I'm trying to be, like, very kosher about
No,
how
don't
I'm
be
behaving.
kosher. Don't be kosher. Here's how we're going to do this. So,
No, I
like,
can't touch my face or nothing is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, you can.
Normally,
Dude.
I'm just like...
I've touched my face like 50 times, and we've only been recording for 5 minutes, so...
It's all good. It's fine.
Here's what I want you to do, okay? I want you to tell me how your week went.
Oh, God.
Now you have to think about the week, and it's like, what happened?
The week was, like, simultaneously, like, slow, and I also talk with my hands a lot, so... simultaneously
me too.
slow and quick at the same time. So it was, like, weird because I felt like I was very busy, but I also didn't accomplish anything at all at the same time. That type of week. I hate those weeks. Because I'm like, God, I was so busy. And then I'm like, what did I even do, though? Like, nothing. I did nothing.
I know, it feels like you're just going, and then there's, like, no progression to that go. So you feel very unfulfilled by the end of the week, and it's like, just... I probably shouldn't do that on camera. Just shoot me now.
Yeah, don't do that. I know. See, that's the thing. Is like you gotta be a little more cognizant of what movements you're making.
For sure.
I don't know. I feel like I had a lot of appointments and okay, here's the thing. Okay, I'll give an update on the podcast because I've talked about it on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
My migraine situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get on Botox, right? Did I mention that last week? Did I update anybody after we talked about the whole migraine situation like a couple weeks ago?
I don't think it was last week, but I think you did talk about it one of these weeks.
Reminder or refresher, or if I didn't say it, I'm getting on Botox for my migraines. I was all stressed out because I thought it was my last step. It actually isn't, so that's a plus. However, fucking insurance is a scam. I hate insurance so much. Honestly, that's a whole different conspiracy theory rabbit hole we could go down, so we won't. But I don't know how many freaking times I gotta tell these people, I give my consent for you to send it to my doctor. Just do it. Like, they keep calling and they're like, we need your verbal consent to send this to your doctor. And I'm like, I consent. Okay? And then the doctor's office calls me. The pharmacy needs you to call them and consent to this. I'm like, I already did that. I did it online. I gave it verbally over the phone. I'm like, do you have their number? Even though I have their number, I'm just not scrolling my calls to find it, right? She's like, they do this every week. I just wish they'd effing get it figured out, is what the nurse, like, actually said that. And I was like, girl, all right.
They are bad about that. Like, even here, they're bad about that. Like, what?
So, get this. So I called them. They go through my allergies and my medications again. And then I give my consent. And then they're like, well, last time we ran it was April 24th. So now that it's a new month, we have to run it through your benefits again. I'm like, I haven't even fucking used anything yet. How are my benefits any different than they were a week ago? What?
It's a new month. That's why, duh. It changes.
I haven't done anything.
It changes from April 30th to May 1st, apparently.
God. I was like, you haven't sent it. We haven't used it. Like, I haven't bought any new prescriptions in that week time frame. Like, my benefits are exactly the same. The same.
With that being considered, I mean, did you need medications? Well, you just said you didn't have any medications. Okay, so, like, why did they even do all that at the end of the month, knowing that they were going to have to do it at the beginning of the next month anyway?
I don't fucking know.
Like,
because they didn't put it through fast enough in time. She's like, I'll expedite it for you. It should be 24 to 48 hours. Guess what? 48 hours later, I ain't heard shit. Actually got another call with a voicemail today. We need your consent to send it to the doctor. How many fucking times do I have to tell you people? Send it.
Just send it.
If anybody from OptumRx Pharmacy is listening to this, fucking send it. God.
Name dropping. Hey, you know what? Sometimes they do need to be name dropped to get their shit together.
Also, if anybody else has ever experienced that from OptumRx, let me know. Frickin' shirts, bro. Frick it. I feel like, you know what? Swearing feels weird when people can see you.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've been trying to move away from swearing because I feel like it has polluted my brain and my mouth so much that
Hey.
I'm just like, yo,
You want to know a fun fact?
what?
Intelligent people swear more.
I've heard that, but it's just a matter of believing that. Oh, let me say something. Let me say something. Let me
You're
say
so full of
something.
shit right now.
Let me say something.
You have lucky your eyes ain't brown.
Let me say something, okay? So, like, I don't know, like, somebody needs to do more in-depth studies on the brain from, like, your early 20s to your late 20s specifically, because there's a lot of cognitive development. We do know that for a fact. However, I really, really want to understand, like, I've started doing, like, these dance workouts because I always enjoy cardio. We've talked about it numerous times on this podcast. Cardio just makes me feel good, and I like to dance, but it's been a long time, admittedly, since I've danced. And I used to pick up on things so quick. Like, I did cheerleading when I was in middle school, not really in high school, but middle school. And like, I was always put at the front because I learned so quick, and the other girls behind me would always like follow what I was doing as well. And now I'm like, dude, I would totally be one of those home girls in the back because my brain was just not computing with the dance instructor on the TV. Like, she was like, yeah, take this hand and like put it up to this knee. And I was like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I kept doing like the knee to the elbow action, the same, like on the same side. I'm like, you idiot, you're supposed to cross. And it's like, it took my brain 5 minutes to do that.
It happens. You just gotta get back in the groove, man.
Maybe it is like I've lost my groove, but I just feel like I felt really dumb afterwards. I'm like, is there something wrong with my brain right now? Like, did I have a stroke in the middle of that? Like, not even a joke. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, I'm not saying that for a hee hee ha ha. I'm saying it because what was that?
Well, you know they don't say dance like nobody's watching for no reason. So,
dude, it was embarrassing. If somebody was watching, they would have been like,
"You're fine. It's fine about it. You just gotta keep practicing."
It's true. It's
the whole like you're trying something new concept, something you haven't done. Like, yeah, you've done it before, but you haven't done it in a while. So it's all good. Hold on, so sorry, allergies.
Ew, gross.
I was sick of that shit.
Word up.
Oh yeah, what I was gonna say, tiny disco. Ready? Anyways, other than that though, so just keep practicing, right? You'll get there. But other than that, how was the rest of your week?
I mean, my weeks always go by super fast, but like, I feel like it was pretty productive. I found a lot of new recipes and they were delicious, and they're going to be added to my rotation for cooking. So I really liked everything I cooked this week. Ventured out a little bit more than the average week. So yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty good week. It just goes by super fast. That's the only downside.
But bonus to that, 2 weeks from today, we gonna be together.
It went from being a year to being less than 2 weeks. That's kind of disturbing because if you guys didn't know, we are going to be at Pinhurst PearCon, and we are going to be vendors, and we have been planning this for at least a year in our little old mentals that we were going to be doing this year. So we are
tiny disco.
Doing tiny disco. We are without a shadow of a doubt excited. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the journey of it all. But I am looking forward to... That's how I get through travel, is that I'm like, listen, homegirl, when you get to your destination, you're going to be having the time of your life. That's what makes travel worth it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell myself that because we get on the plane at like 6:10 p.m. and get off the plane at 5:30 a.m. and there's a 2-hour time difference. So,
yeah, that's going to be fun. That's always the worst part, is the time zone difference.
it's bad going out to you guys. Coming back, not so much. Because I gain time coming back.
Right, yeah,
I lose time going out.
That's the big thing that I struggled with a lot. Obviously for you gain time, but I mean, like, everybody gains time when they're going to the West, but like, it was very difficult for me when I was so tired that first day, because I was sitting there and I was like, all right, it's 5 o'clock right now. Oh, my mom just got off work, and I was like,
It's
no,
5 o'clock somewhere.
she's been off for like 2 hours now. And then I was struggling a lot trying to process that the first like day or two, but then like I got used to it eventually. But when I went back home, it was bad, because I was like, it was 9 o'clock where I was, and I boarded the plane at 11, and now that I have flown back home, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What's going on? I didn't like that.
Yep.
I hated that, actually. So that did suck. But at least you're going to be flying in earlier in the morning. Like, we're going to have to nap. Listen.
I'm a napping queen.
Me too.
I'm like, if I don't get enough sleep, Mads and I are different on our sleep. Like, she is sleeping bitchy, but I am the same. It's just she needs like when she goes to bed and wakes up in the morning, like goes to bed at night, wakes up in the morning type of situation. I just need enough sleep, even if it's like I have to chunk it up type of situation.
And see, like, chunking it up for me, like, I will do it if I have to, but it's not ideal because that's not how I get enough rest. Personally, it's like I'm sleeping, but my body's still tired. It's like teasing my body, because when I want to take a nap, I full send it. Like, if I'm going to take a nap, I might be out for 5 hours.
Yeah, this one done takes long ass naps. And I'm over here like I can take a nap on my lunch break. Like, I can do 20 minutes and I'm good to go.
I used to be able to do that when I was a kid. And now that I'm at like closer to 30, I can't do that anymore. It just don't be working.
My problem is I can't fall asleep because my brain never shuts up.
That's my
then
issue.
When I do, yeah. Then if I can
but when
make myself fall asleep, and then I can like actually try to take a nap today because I'm like super tired and I don't know why. But I actually tried to take a nap today, and then my mom ended up calling me like 15 minutes later, and then I was like, I'm not even tired anymore. Like, I'm good to go.
See, I wish. Yeah, like, my biggest issue is that, like, when we go to these conventions, we stay up super late at night, and we wake up early for me. Because, you know, like, if I'm going to bed at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. sometimes, and I'm having to wake up at 9, that is a death sentence for me. Yep. Well, not to mention, remember Atlanta, when we came back from Atlanta?
You mean when we stayed up until 6 a.m. and had to check out at 10?
Mm-hmm. We took a nap. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Took a nap, drank the whole day before. So that was a very interesting experience.
We drank for 14 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
Who even were we? I don't think I've ever done that before or after.
No. Bad influence.
I don't know who that was.
We influence each other, and it's
I don't know
bad.
Who that person was. Never met her in my life.
Honestly, 24-year-old me and 26-year-old you were a different breed than 27 and 29-year-old us.
God, was that really 3 years ago?
Dude, it's getting there. It's getting there.
Oh,
dude, we were in our hot girl era. I miss that era. I mean, we're still in our hot girl era, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm about to hang up. Bye. Just
don't hang up on me,
deuces.
please. Please don't hang up on me. Please. I'm begging. Don't make me beg. Don't make me beg.
Do it. Look me in the eyeballs. Beg for it.
I'm about to punch you in the face. Don't ever say that to me again.
No, wait. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. You have beautiful eyes.
Thank you.
That's from Ice Age.
And then
He's like,
Sid.
yeah.
Do I? Really? Oh my gosh, you're like the first person who's ever told me that.
No.
Well, okay, we've been recording for 20 minutes. Should we get into what we're talking about today, or like what? I'm excited.
Guess what, guys?
for
It's
this.
not Project Fear this time, so.
Thank
See,
God.
I have the same reaction to everything, not just Project Fear. Just kidding.
That one was pretend. Everything else, like with Project Fear, it's real. It comes from the soul. It's like puking, where you can't help it. It's a visceral reaction. It's like dry heaving and just being like, I hate it, you know? I don't actually. I wouldn't be wearing their merch right now if I hated it.
Oh no, I forgot to put my ghosty necklace on. I was
Dude,
totally gonna do that.
I wanted to show you something. Let's see how flexible I am. Look, I'm wearing green.
Nice.
You're wearing green pants. Share your green pants. We're matching.
Can't see them.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
Yeah, I hate Project Fear. That's why I have a whole shelf dedicated to them.
Yeah, I obviously hate them, so I buy their merch and like I support them and like go to the conventions and like meet them and stuff and like have spent a lot of money doing so. So like, duh, I hate them.
Can I just say I almost scratched my eye and I for one I forgot I was on camera. Two, I never wear makeup anymore.
Me
when
neither.
I was doing my makeup, I damn near said it, Mads, the thing that people would never think that I would say.
What?
I hate makeup.
I hate it too, actually. Because, okay, like, I like how it makes me look. I like the final product. Like, when I do, like, a full face like this, I never do it anymore. I used to do it all the time. All the time.
Combing my bangs while Mads crashes out of them.
I mean, but it has, like, my skin has gotten, like, it's healed a lot. I've been able to, like, I feel like my skin looks really good these days. Minus, like, the typical hormonal stuff. But, like, makeup fucks everything up.
I just don't wear it ever. And I just, like...
Me neither. I literally...
It was mostly a joke because of my, like, special effects makeup that I do. I was like, people would probably be like, oh, you of all people, what the... But, yeah, no.
How
I just
dare
never
you.
wear it, ever. I didn't even know where my fucking foundation brush was. I was like...
How dare you.
Oh, yeah.
Can't believe we're here with that.
I know. Who would have thunk it?
So yeah, today I'm really excited because we are talking about, well, first of all, we're beginning our mysteries segment.
Mysteries.
I'm so excited, homies, because the first one that we're going to be talking about is
Pyramids.
the pyramids. The famous, most iconic pyramids.
First of all, I have a question about that, actually. Why does everybody always just focus on the Pyramid of Khufu? Because Khufu's fun to say, but... we can probably dive deeper in all this shit as we talk more, but... The one in, is it Bosnia, is way more interesting.
So... Okay, you're going to have to remind me what the Pyramid of Khufu is. Okay, so you mean the biggest pyramid of the three.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I always hear people refer to it as the Great Pyramid, so I was like, am I right? in that. But yeah, I don't know, because like what you were talking about, okay, I don't want to get too carried away, but we
can just start and then we can talk about it as we go. If you
maybe we should. Maybe, I mean, the only thing I want to say is that the pyramid in Bosnia is very fascinating, as well as the pyramids in South America. So I kind of want to start from the beginning before we get into like all the lore of it all, and just kind of like give a little bit of history as to like what exactly is happening here. You know what I'm saying?
I have a feeling I'm about to find out I didn't do as much homework as I was supposed to.
Well, here's the thing though. With me, like, I really love history, and I actually had to tone it down a lot, because if I let myself keep going and going, this podcast episode would have been like 4 hours. And realistically, as fun as that would be, I don't have 4 hours to just sit here. But, you know, if you guys want to see another episode of us talking about the pyramids one day, we will absolutely do that, because there is so much information. There are so many theories. There is so much history. This is more than just, you know, aliens. It's not just simply about aliens. There are a lot of very interesting coincidences, but it's just so in depth. Like, this has been, like, of course, in modern day, we have become very obsessed with the pyramids and how they were built. But this has been an obsession for far longer than just us here in modern day. This has been pretty much since they were built. And let me just tell you one thing too, before we really get into it.
If they were built.
Correct. But the biggest thing that I wanted to say is that when these pyramids were built, and by these pyramids, I'm specifically, more particularly referring to the 3 pyramids with the Great Pyramid, the ones in Giza. Yeah. So these pyramids, interestingly enough, were built in ancient Egypt. By the time Cleopatra, who was the last queen of Egypt, came about, these pyramids were truly ancient. They were still ancient. They were built in ancient Egypt. And something that I had read recently in all of this research is that Cleopatra is actually closer to the modern day cell phone than she was to the pyramids of Giza being built. So if that's not a mind-blowing fact, I don't know what is. It's kind of crazy.
I have weird theories about it, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Since we're on camera, we might be looking down a lot at our little cellular devices, because this is where I personally like to take notes. So, one thing I did want to reference on my end is, for a lot of this that I'm going to talk about as far as theories go, my reference will be linked down below wherever you're listening to this or watching. Hey, we can say that now. It will be in reference to Ancient Aliens Season 5, Episode 1 on the History Channel. So, shall we take it away?
Yes.
I think we shall. Let's go. So,
I didn't take hardly any notes, and that's gonna bite me in the ass, but it's okay.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I want to. Once you get into your like rabbit hole mindset, it's just gonna usually I spiral. I have to tell you something at the end of this podcast that somebody said to me this week, and it's been fucking up my brain ever since. So
okay,
don't let me forget.
I'm interested. Hopefully I won't forget, because I feel like this is going to be a very information-filled episode, to where my brain may just be in like mind frickin' zone, like, you know what I'm saying? So first and foremost, I want to say, like what we were briefly talking about earlier, there are pyramids everywhere. They are in Asia. They are in Europe. They are in Africa. And they are in South America. Just to name a few places, okay? Obviously, I can't name every single one. But what's fascinating is each of these pyramids across these continents they all have like a similar building style. Another thing I wanted to bring up, because I think it's very interesting, is that, and necessarily is like the measurement style, is what I mean by building style, by the way. The measurements are so similar, they're almost exact, if not identical. Okay?
Do you know the difference? So not only did I watch the Ancient Aliens season 5 episode 1, there's a different episode, a different show. I almost said story. Hold on. I'll grab it for you real fast.
It kind of is like a story, you know?
So specifically the Great Pyramid. I can't read and type at the same time, sorry. What is it called? Prime Video. Duh.
Prime Video.
I think it was like Mysteries of the Pyramid or something like that, but the structure itself, like the 90-degree angles from one side to the other, are only within 10 centimeters of each other off.
Yeah, that's
10 centimeters.
That's interesting. I also wanted to bring up another fact as far as the structure of it goes. Did you know that in 1940, a British Air Force pilot, I didn't catch the name, I don't even think they stated it in the Ancient Aliens episode, but he snapped a picture of the Great Pyramid from above, right? And his photo actually showed that the Great Pyramid has not 4 sides, but 8 sides. And they can only be seen from the air. Get this. Only seen from the air at dawn and sunset of the spring and autumn equinoxes, when the sun casts shadows on the pyramid.
Only 2 days a year.
So that within itself, just this basic stuff that we're getting into, is kind of mind-blowing, because there is a question as to how did they know exactly what others were doing, and if they were even aware. Were they communicating in some way? That's what I've always wondered.
It's called Pyramid Solving the Mystery.
Ooh,
it was
Pyramid
episode
Solving
1.
the Mystery. Okay, yeah, you need to send that to me, because I want to watch it.
I'll text you right now so I don't forget.
Something that I did.
Episode 1, they talked about the difference between the 2 corners being 10 centimeters off, and there was like one other measurement of the pyramid, maybe the diagonals or something. They're like, it's literally like a fraction, a small fraction off, and it's literally within centimeters. And I'm like, that is insane, given that way back when they were building this, like, none of the recent like technology that we have, like, how is this possible? How is the structure so perfect, measurement wise and everything? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the structure is so spot on. And, you know, I think we've briefly, like very briefly discussed this on the podcast before, but I don't know if you remember this, because like every state is different as far as like social studies goes for like elementary kids. But back in my day when I was in elementary school, one of our assignments in social studies was to look in a Time magazine, and it would have little articles with questions afterwards. And that would be our social studies assignment for the day, right? Well, there are a couple that would stick in my little noggin to this day, okay? About King Tutankhamun, which is the famous King Tut. And another one was how they built the pyramids, which is really, really fascinating as a whole, because, you know, when you're a kid, and even up until my recent adulthood, I never really questioned how they built the pyramids that much. I just kind of took what historians and archaeologists and scientists stated, and what they have frequently stated, which is that they would take these multi-ton bricks, like I guess you could call it a brick, block, whatever, and multiple people would pull them up a ramp. So they would start, a stone. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for, a stone. They would pull it up a ramp. They would start from the bottom and end at the top. The only thing about this theory, though, that I found very interesting, if my brain serves me right, is that there is no evidence of like inclines that are high enough to be able to pull those stones. I'm interested in what you have to say. Tell me, please.
In the pyramid solving the mystery episode, they talked about this, okay? Because they had to have, because if you didn't hear this, then that's where I heard it from. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, I'll put this stuff on while I'm like cleaning and stuff, so I'm like listening, not watching, right? So I'm like, I forget what episode it is. But so they said that they have like ancient what do they call them, ramps, basically, that they like just filled and packed with debris to use to build some of the other pyramids, right? So with the Great Pyramid specifically, they were trying to figure out how and where the ramp is and like how they were able to do that. So I think they said, I'm not really good at like meters versus miles, okay, but everything
Me neither.
is meters.
Me neither.
They said the quarry where they got all of the stone from was 350 meters away. And so they were like, if we had a ramp that went from the quarry to the pyramid, by the time you get to the top of it, it'd be way too steep. So they had this theory that they did it to up to 1/3 of the pyramid, and then they did like I think they called it like a road ramp or something like that went around the pyramid, like kind of spirally around. But I don't know how that makes any sense, because where is the infrastructure to hold that in place?
Yeah.
For the rest of the 2/3 of the pyramid.
Exactly. That
doesn't quite make sense to me, but that's their theory currently.
Well,
or in that episode, I'll say, not currently, but in that specific episode, they're like, this is what we think makes the most sense. And I'm like, does it though? Because how does that, where's the infrastructure for that? If it's all dirt and debris and, you know.
Yeah,
And where did it all go afterwards?
And that's the main question. But another theory that could actually, considering the way that these ancients thought, let's just say that these ancients did not receive information from an other realm of some sort, which we're getting there, I promise. But I also read that there is a possibility that there was a pulley system going on, like some sort of lifting ordeal. And I think this was in Ancient Aliens, where they did find some evidence of a structure that could have potentially been like a pulley system. Which is very fascinating because, again, how would they freaking know? Like, are we just really dumb now, or like what happened?
I have theories on that too. So before we move on to this,
I'm glad.
More topic though. Do you know one of the theories about how they got it so level to begin with?
I don't think I do.
Okay, so one of the theories, because again, it came from that other episode or that other series, Pyramid Solving the Mystery. They theorized that they built a moat around the base of the pyramid where they wanted it to be, filled it with water, so the water would be level, and that's how they levelized it.
You know what?
But
I think I have heard that.
Wouldn't there be more clear evidence of that? Because let's say that happened, how would that disappear? That would, because it's not there anymore, right? So they would have had to fill it in. But you would think over time, with wear and tear and weather and all that shit, that there would be more of like an indent around the actual pyramid itself, if that were truly the case. In my opinion.
I would think that there would be some sort of
indicator.
Yeah, some sort of indicator as far as like water goes, you know, especially if it's being adjusted at multiple levels. Like, you archaeologists and scientists have been able to tell stuff like that for a very long time. Like when the tide came up on X day and all this kind of stuff. So I feel like that would be the case. Like there would be evidence of that, if I'm not mistaken. But I would think.
Yeah, because he was one thing that he said that I didn't hear entirely is there was like some indicator on the ground of like some original design. Oops, sorry, hit my mic. Some original like design area of like where they wanted the base to be. There was like something they put in the ground as a stake, right? So I'm like, well, if you have that, if there was actually a moat here, I just feel like it would be more obvious.
I do feel like it would be obvious. In my personal opinion, just based off of the things that I have read over time. And like, we'll get into that too, because we're going to be talking about a lot of things in history, even things that involve water, and how they're able to tell like certain things about life, you know, as it was, based off of like the indications, should I say, of how the water was risen in certain times. And, you know, like that's what fascinates me so much about science and archaeology and just history in general, because it all kind of coincides together, right? Is that like you know so much based off of little things like that. So I feel like if that were something that was a possibility, more scientists, archaeologists, historians probably would be more in favor of that theory, because I think I have heard it, but it's definitely not a popular theory. The most popular one is definitely the one where they're pulling up, but as of recent, I had read that they're starting to not believe in that anymore because of what I said about there being no evidence of inclines that would be able to get them up there.
Well, again, have like you ever gone to the gym and like try to flip a tire? It's like, these rocks are like solid earth material rocks, and they do weigh tons and tons, you know?
Tons and tons.
Like, there's another theory that it was originally a mountain there, and they like chiseled it away at it to at least get the foundation of it. I don't think the whole thing, but at least the foundation of it. But I'm like, still, you still have to like continue on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's a really weird one that I'm not sure I'm a fan of. Watch that be like the real thing.
I can't. That must have been in the mysteries one then. If it wasn't in, because that's all that he talked about. I'm like, it's so funny to me that most of that stuff is what's stuck in my brain. But
I know, but you know what's very interesting too is that like the pyramids, more than just the ones in Egypt, but each of these, like all these pyramids that are across like all of the continents of the earth, they all have like a similar, like however they built them was very similar. That's the weird thing too. Well,
didn't they say too that like the Great Pyramid is theorized to be the dead center of all like the earth structures or something like that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how would anybody know that way back when they were building these things? How would anyone know that information?
No idea. It's and see,
it sits true north and all that stuff. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it has very specific. It also aligns with the different constellations in the sky as well.
Specifically Orion's belt.
And
Orion's was it Sirius?
Let me double check here.
Dude, I'm getting a migraine so fucking bad right now, just FYI.
Oh no.
It didn't start coming on until after we started recording.
Oh, here we go. Yes. So it's perfectly aligned to the magnetic north. And inside the pyramid, the designers actually added small shafts that align towards Orion and Sirius.
Yep.
And all four shafts are not only aligned perfectly on a north and south axis, one shaft points directly towards Orion's belt.
See, so this whole pyramid has so many indicators of so many very specific things. Like, how is it that we were so much smarter and so much more advanced in a time when we supposedly weren't? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're like, oh, it's never been a better time to be alive as a human. I'm like, no, we're fucking dumb, bro. Like, I'm sitting here watching this stuff, and I'm like, people built these things.
Like, actually,
right? That's
yeah.
one theory. People went out and actually built this, and they made sure it was true magnetic north, and it was the dead center of all Earth's, like, natural land monuments or whatever. And it faces, like, it has shafts specifically for Orion's belt and specifically for Sirius. And I'm like, there's nobody today could do anything like that perfectly.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I don't think so.
Even with
modern technology, I think it would take a lot of work. Not saying that this didn't, but I think it would take a very long time to figure that out. Maybe I'm wrong.
With all of these, like, matter of fact specifics, though, like, all 8 sides, not 4, align so perfectly that they're only maybe 10 centimeters off of each other from one corner to the other. And, the structure is perfect square, makes a perfect point. Like, there's so many little factors involved in all of the specifics of the specific Great Pyramid.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't add up.
It's very interesting.
Something's off.
Something is there. I feel
mathin'.
Like, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but I do, a lot of me wonders, about the theory of, well, it's not even a theory. Here's the catcher. One thing that I've always found very interesting, and I have heard this before, I'm going to reference Brian Forrester, who is the author of A Brief History of the Incas. He says, quote, "It is quite possible that the ancient Egyptians and ancient Peruvians in South America were indeed connected, and that they traveled back and forth, visiting each other and influencing each other's cultures." But here's the thing, too, that I did want to mention, is that they could be doing that. That is a very strong possibility. But the chances of that actually happening, I just don't know if that was really a possibility back then. I really don't. They all also, like, each of these, this is the most chilling part, okay? All of these pyramids that were built.
Bro, sorry, I don't know when I got muted.
I thought you were just staying muted.
No. I don't actually know when I did it that specific time, but I was like, can I put you on to something else?
I heard it just go boop. But real quick, what I was getting at is that all of these, like, cultures, each worshipped a sky god that came down from the sky and gave them information on how to build the pyramids.
That's why I think it's aliens, but we'll get there in a minute.
It could very well potentially be aliens, but it also makes you wonder, like, what if it's not aliens, but it was actually, like, God?
Could be, but I think it was aliens specifically. They said that whoever helped create the Great Pyramid, he specified that he was given, like, a vision from a different realm from God, that God didn't actually come to him.
It was oh my gosh, where is it? Imhotep. He was the first person responsible for the construction of the first pyramid of Egypt. Not the pyramids, but the first. And he said that he received the information from the gods, and he was able to access the information from a different realm.
Yep.
So that was Imhotep
there too.
Yep.
But so let me put you on to something real quick. I don't know. I don't think it was in the Mysteries series. I think because the second episode of season 5 of Ancient Aliens started playing, so it might have been the beginning of it if it wasn't the end of the first episode. But they were talking about somebody had created a pyramid and put it in a centrifuge, and they spun it, and when it came out, it was like aligned with Orion's belt again or something. And so they have this theory that all of the pyramids across the whole globe are connected, and you can actually time travel via pyramid.
Yeah.
Did you hear that too?
Yeah, that was in the Ancient Aliens one. I thought that was very interesting. That was actually, let me make sure that I get this quite right. I believe, okay, it was Joe Parr who did that. He created his own little pyramid to do studies on. So, I mean, basically what he did was, I mean, we ended up finding this out, and this blows my mind because I don't know how this was for you, but I thought, even me as the historian that has always been interested in ancient Egypt, I thought all the pyramids were tombs for the pharaohs. Did you know that in the pyramids of Giza, they are not tombs? They have never found any mummified remains in those 3 pyramids. They're just there.
Pyramid specifically, yeah. So that one was made. That pyramid supposedly was created for Khufu. Yeah. Which is why that's the other name for it. And it also has 3 chambers in it. So, because all of the chambers, so pharaohs are actually supposed to be like, you know, put in their tombs at ground level, right? So in the Great Pyramid, there is no ground level one. There's one that's like, I want to say, did they say 10 or like 15 like meters below or something? And then there's one 15 meters high and then 30 meters high, something like that. Don't quote me on those exact numbers, but it's something along those lines.
It's something like that.
And so then they were theorizing in one of the episodes I watched that the one underground was actually the last one to be worked on because it was never finished. Only the 2 above it were completed. And the tomb, so because people were like, Khufu just kept changing his mind, like he reigned for like several decades, so he probably just kept changing his mind or whatever. And this other guy was like, actually, I think it was part of his plan all along, but the actual third one, the highest one in the air, was the one he landed on as his final resting place, right? And they have an actual tomb in there for him, but it's very small. Like, people are like, this is too small for him, like he wouldn't fit in here. So they never found a body in it.
That's so interesting. But kind of playing off that too is that, like, I just never, I don't know, you know, like, you always hear the Valley of the Kings referenced, and those are literal, like, tombs within, like, the structure of a mountain. And that is so intricately done too. Like, if you look inside those tombs, so intricate, it blows my mind. Like, they were able to figure out where exactly in the mountain to start going at it. Like, how? And like, it's just very interesting. So it does beg the question, like, okay, so if this wasn't made for a tomb, hypothetically, like, as you said, it was probably, you know, intended for, but just didn't work out. But that Joe Parr guy that did the test on the pyramid in his lab, he figured, and he just had like this inclination that maybe the pyramids were a source of energy. And like, that itself is very kind of mind-blowing and hard to explain. But as we stated previously as well, like, the way that the pyramid sits perfectly, you know, and it aligns to certain constellations in the sky, of course that's a valid theory for him to make. So when he took his little model pyramid and he did it, and he spun it and figured out that it could allow the pyramid to go into another time and travel, like, that within itself just still is so hard for my human mind to even conceptualize, because it is scientifically proven that other realms do exist. Like that science, that's also like biblical. Like it's all factual that is a thing. Now time travel, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, a couple of different things here. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the pyramid in Russia.
Yeah.
That was built in like the 80s, I think they said. So that
Yep.
pyramid was built by, was it a doctor or scientist or something? And he created it because of the energy theory of pyramids, where they harness energy and they're like a source of energy, right? My Siri on my iPad thinks I'm talking to him. Hold on.
It's Alexander Golod that
Yeah.
built that pyramid. It's in Moscow.
Yeah. And so he said that he built it because he thought it could help heal not only like human bodies, but like, you know, matter in I forgot exactly what he said. But anyways, people had studied, like they put antibiotics in there and then, you know, it became like 20 times stronger or something like that after sitting in there for 28 days or whatever they said.
Yep.
But
one moon cycle.
Yeah, 1 moon cycle. So that just makes me think too. It's like, because they said something about like it even has some sort of effect against gamma rays and stuff like that. I'm like, why is nobody studying this? Like, why can't we use pyramid type like buildings and structures in modern day medicine to heal bodies? Okay, because humans are energy. Like, we have like electricity running through our bodies and everything, you know. So it's like, why is nobody studying this stuff harder? There was something else I was gonna add and I just lost it. Where'd it go? But oh yeah, the one in Russia, they said like, I think the Russian Air Force base, or not base, but the Russian Air Force or somebody, they had seen on radar or something that the pyramid itself was actually putting off energy up into like the sky, like almost a mile high.
Yeah. It just, that blows my mind.
Wild.
On such like a crazy level.
And that pyramid, I think they said, was made out of fiberglass or something.
Something like that. I didn't
it's
even
not
take
even like real earth material, like
yeah,
like, you know, the stone, for example, because we always talk about, you know, stone holds energy, like when we're talking about the Edinburgh tunnels and stuff. So it's just wild to me. I don't know. I just feel like people need to do more investigating into that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what's so weird too is that another thing I wanted to talk about is the this one really got me, okay? In Bosnia, Dr. Sam Osmanagic says that the hills in Visoko in Bosnia are actually pyramids. And when they showed the picture of these hills, you can see what I feel is very evident that it is the structure of a pyramid. And he's actually done testing. Dr. I did it so perfect the first time. Osmanagic.
We all know you can do it. It's all good.
Yeah. He did all this like research, and the sides match with the cardinal points of east, west, north, and south, first and foremost, okay? And they were built, okay, first of all, they contain like tunnel systems. When they did like, you know, that testing that they do now where they're able to like look in there without looking in there, you know?
Yeah.
So those hills were made out of artificial concrete that is actually 3 times more advanced than what we have now. So the question begs, how did they obtain those materials?
I'll bring you my theory in a second. Hold on. Before I do that though, the Bosnia pyramid, I want to do more research on, because I only got basic facts off of that episode.
Me too.
However, it's significantly older than the Great Pyramid or the 3 in Giza. It's significantly larger than the 3 in Giza. And so it's like everybody's all focused on the Giza pyramids, and I'm like, Fucking Bosnia, though, like, older, bigger, stronger, like, what?
It's because, like, truthfully, I think that, first of all, they are estimated to be about 12,350 years old. And second of all, they're now covered by grass. The question is why? Why are they covered by grass? It seems as though the government,
people to know. Mm-hmm.
They want to hide something. And this has not been just done in Russia. One of my recent fascinations as of recent was the first emperor of China. And his tomb, where many people know about the terracotta warriors, that was the first emperor of China. And they found his tomb. It looked like it was a hill covered in grass. And they were able to discover that. I can a little bit, yeah.
Okay. It scared me,
but it's fine.
It echoed off of something over here that sounded metallic at first, so I was like,
ew. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. I don't like metallic-y sounds. It's weird. But yeah, I just think that, honestly, like, I hate to say it this way, but the government is just not your friend. Like, they have so much
conspiracy theory I don't want to go down right now.
Me neither. But there's just,
that may have to be a whole episode on its own, Mads, one of these days, to be honest with you.
As far as like keeping it surface level for the sake of this episode, they're clearly keeping something that they deem valuable. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to hide it. And pretty much circling back to the whole, like, hills in Bosnia, is that there are so many people who are denying it, either for the purpose of just not wanting to get involved with the government in that aspect. Dr. Osmanagic, he literally, he's out there. He's like pushing it. He's like, I've done the testing. I know what I'm talking about. Like, these are pyramids. But there are people who still to this day blatantly deny it. And, you just can't help but wonder if it's just for protective purposes,
Well, here's the thing, though. The thing that gets me about humanity in general is, like, everything we are told and everything we know, right? You have to take it as it came from somebody's opinion, right?
Yep.
No matter how factual they try to keep it, it's from their viewpoint, their vantage point, their perception, right? So, yeah, facts, but from whoever, discovered and is telling you what they witnessed and what they saw and how they figured it out and yada, 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 right? Because I think when they were talking about that, they were like, Western science or something is very, like, stuck in their viewpoint. Like, if it's something doesn't go along with their views, then they're just not going to look into it. And that's kind of, like, unfortunate, really, if you think about it.
It is unfortunate. But that goes for many things. It goes with, like, as far as the Bible goes, the Bible can be proved through science. It is something that is confirmed in not just my personal belief, but just evidence. There's so much scientific evidence. And if it doesn't match what scientists have believed for all this time, then it just comes to a point where they're like, all right, I'm not going to look into this more. It's just kind of like in an argument where you're like, all right, whatever. I clearly don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm just not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying that always happens in an argument, just saying, like, for the sake of comparison. But it's just, it kind of is like that. It's like you're being proven wrong, and then you're like, okay, well, whatever.
It's kind of like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I hate being human, to be honest with you. I'm like, this is
me too.
Stupid. But, okay, here's a theory I have, okay? Just for fun. Just for shits and giggles, because I like to always think about, what if this,
Shit and giggles.
Shit and giggles. So, we've talked previously in several various episodes of ours on different realms, and like what if, like, you know, for
Mm-hmm.
like ghosts, for example, what if we were actually hearing yourself investigating in a different timeline or something like that? So take the pyramids. What if past, future, and time runs like this?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so all of a sudden at this point, when future us is building pyramids, past us is like uncivilized, the realms touch. That was a funny noise I made. Boom, the realms touch, somebody passed through, and they're like, hey, let me show you something real fast. Boop, here comes the pyramid.
Yeah, my mom.
I don't know if that made any sense at all,
No,
but
it does make sense because we have talked about it on the podcast before. My mom actually believes that, like, what the what the ancient Egyptians and like the ancients as a whole saw were actually us from the future. And
you never know.
that theory is crazy, but also it kind of goes with the whole, you know, that theory that I brought up multiple times that I have deemed the Outlander theory, where time exists, like every time period exists on the same line. They just never quite intersect. It may take a very long time for that to happen, but it's like a railroad track where everything is mostly symmetrical and it's just like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you just genuinely don't know.
No.
You just know what you're told, and that's why, like, the beauty of being able to dive into these mysteries is that you just can just keep going and keep going and keep going. But I have educated myself just from one episode alone and just a couple of articles. And I'm not saying, you know, of course, that any of these are factually factual, but it is interesting to hear what people have to say. These are people who are authors, doctors, scientists, historians, archaeologists, people who are very well educated that dedicate their life to figuring these things out. So it is something that should be taken in stride, right? Like, not just with a grain of salt, but it really involves a lot of thought, because intelligent people don't just say things to say them. You know what I'm saying? There's always a reason behind it, usually.
Why'd your lights just flicker behind you?
Yeah, that one is actually my grandma's back there on that picture, and that is actually a memorial for her, so who knows. Actually, it's raining. But I don't think that caused the flicker, because everything else would have flickered, so.
I couldn't tell if it was both of them or just the... Is that a salt lamp? Is that what that is?
No, that's just a regular little lamp.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't tell, but I saw it. I was like...
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Oh, and you know, another thing too, with all of these pyramids across all these continents, not a single blueprint has been found for any of these.
Yeah, they did say that too, huh? Wild.
Which is so fascinating, because that just doesn't make any sense. So they just received this information, were they just standing there and they were being guided? Like, for the math, here's the thing though, for the math behind it all, for it all to be specifically and intricately aligned with everything, you would think there would be some sort of like problem solving going on a piece of paper somewhere.
Something.
Now,
You know what I think too, also?
what?
I just had a thought too, like when I was watching it and stuff, I was like, what if pyramids were actually like the housing for whatever civilization actually came from way back when?
Could be. That's
But like,
that's actually a good one, because I've never even like thought of anything like that before.
or like, okay, let's say aliens, right, did bring the pyramids here or built them or whatever. I don't know. We don't know anything about aliens, right? So like, here they come with their little UFO, bzz, like beam it down. There's their little house. Like, You never know, you know.
Could be.
But yeah, that's just, I don't know. I didn't think much further than just that general idea, but it's just a thought.
I think it's the entirety of the pyramids. It's just very interesting. The way that all of them are so similar. And I really do like what you were saying. I wish people would focus more on the other pyramids rather than just the ones of Egypt. Not sure why they're the most popular. I just, maybe it's because of, the ancient Egyptian empire was so big, but it's just it's fascinating that like you don't hear them talk, like you don't hear very many people talk about like the pyramids in South America or Bosnia or China.
Yeah, Bosnia for sure. But like, okay, so Chichen Itza, for example, right? The Mayans. Yeah. It might have been the Mysteries, Pyramids Solving the Mysteries series, but the Mayans actually built more pyramids than anybody else ever did.
Yeah.
And so I just don't like, it's also too like, other than the guy in Russia who built, Russia and Ukraine have pyramids built from in the 80s, I believe is what they said. But other than that, like, why is nobody still building pyramids? You know, if they're this, like, it's kind of sad to think that civilization has lost so much of its way, in a sense of like, the pyramids were supposed to be such a like an honorable thing, and such, so like integrated into their culture and like their beliefs, and like, because basically the pyramids in Egypt anyways were supposed to resurrect the kings that were in tombs there and stuff like that. And so it's kind of interesting to me that nobody's building pyramids anymore and nobody consider them that sacred, and well, does that make sense?
But yeah, what we're going to be getting into next week, I believe, is the Lost Library of Alexandria, where thousands and thousands and thousands of years of history, valuable history, was lost. And that could be the source of where the blueprints went. You never know.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
But here's the thing, though. That was in Alexandria, so like the blueprints for all civilizations, that doesn't really add up either. So
yeah,
it's just
that's the other thing they said about all the pyramids too, is like, what you listed 7 different there's only 7 continents, don't mind me. Isn't there sorry, is it 7 countries that pyramids are in? I don't know.
No,
I don't know why I thought 7 for some reason.
No, it's because there are pyramids on every single continent.
Even North America is because Mexico, duh. Okay.
Mexico is South America, but
so does North America have a pyramid then?
I possibly, yes. If I remember when we were doing that, I could have sworn, like when I was watching the whole Ancient Aliens thing, that they said it was there's at least one on every single continent, including North America. Now, I don't know where.
Other than under the ice. That's in Antarctica though, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I don't know about Antarctica, so maybe I'm wrong. But
anyways, but they were talking about how so many different civilizations knew about how to build these structures, but they never crossed paths.
Yeah. Which is kind of like what I was saying earlier, is that like, could it be possible? Yes. But realistically, do I think that is what happened? I mean, I don't know. They had a lot of time. So could they have built a boat and sailed across the ocean to communicate with each other in South America? Maybe. Could they have just walked up to Asia and started chatting with each other? Possibly. But I don't know. Like, you would feel like that would be documented somewhere, because especially as far as like the ancient Egyptians are concerned, they tell so many stories about like the pharaoh's life that, like, at least in the tombs, like, it's from when they're a child to their death, essentially. Like, they just piece together like these pieces of art throughout their life, and you would think there would have been some documentation out of all the pharaohs, out of all the royalty, out of all the people, that there would have been something that said, we went here, and showed that. Maybe somebody with darker skin, even lighter skin. Like, the ancient Egyptians did have darker skin, but like, I just feel like there would have been some documentation of that sort, and I have not personally heard of that. Maybe I should look into that, because that's just very fascinating. I'm just not quite sure about the communication aspect of it all.
Right.
It's just very interesting that, like, the pyramids themselves, like what we were talking about at the beginning, they're so perfectly structured. They're all so perfectly similar. They're perfectly, like, symmetrical to, like, the different polar points, the constellations. They all seem to worship some sort of sky god, like, and they all say that the sky god gave them information. Like, all of that stuff, all of that being considered, is like a lot of hefty evidence, that could point to it being information from another realm of some sort.
Yeah.
Something to think about for sure.
Yeah, what are you talking
Like, why were they just building pyramids in their free time? They're like, you know what? Let's build this very difficult to build structure right now. Like, I'm bored.
Right.
Let's go do something.
Well, I guess technically a pyramid is a relative term, though. It's not like all, like, some of them are like circular and they're only like 2 or 3 like levels, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess technically.
But I mean, like, it's like you pull up to the homie and you're like, hey, you got anything to do for the next 20 years? Sick. Let's go build something.
Shall we end this fucker?
Yeah. So, hopefully you guys liked this episode. I hope it wasn't too chaotic. I feel like there's just so much information and we were so excited, and this is our first History's Mysteries. And I hope that you like that we did a video, because I'm hoping we can do this more often.
Why are you making faces?
If our mommy gives us permission.
I don't need her permission. I'm an adult.
You're my mommy!
Ew.
Anyway.
I don't have a mommy kink. Ew.
Please. Who said anything about that? Anyway, if you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe.
Do it. Fucking do it.
And,
there we go. I just poked you.
Anyway. Bye, babes.
Goodbye, beebs.
We shall see you next week. If mommy lets us.